What are Americans not ready to hear? That the entire world excels at making bathroom stalls that you can't see between. Not sure why the US stall manufacturers can't figure out how to close those massive gaps. The land of the looky-loos. It's really weird how you guys glorify your politicians. Wearing merch of a politician? Very, very strange. I think most sane Americans agree with this sentiment. When people started treating Trump like an overglorified celebrity president, I became very confused. And even more confused acting like he was the second coming of Jesus, like what in the hell? I heard someone say that the way we look at Florida is the same way the rest of the world looks at us. Lol, as a native Floridian, absolutely nothing is shocking to me. When I watched Tiger King, I was actually like, that's it. BC, I've seen and heard far wilder stories locally and on our local news. My hometown actually does what's called Wheel of Fugitive. Every Monday the sheriff spins the wheel and selects a random criminal they're trying to catch, and then all the locals are all like Dog the Bounty Hunter trying to get M for the cash prize, the way PPL be turning on them so quick, and all this is Brevard County. I got hella questions asking. 321 baby, I feel the need to note I'm a Texan now. Left Florida a few YRS ago, lol, there seems to be some confusion there. No, Texas is not crazy. I cannot even tell you one interesting thing that's happened here in the past couple years. I didn't believe you and then looked it up and had my mind blown. 81% success rate of capture since they started. Amazing what a $3,000 reward will do. I'm surprised we haven't had a Black Mirror episode about this. Don't need one because it's already real. Mexico is not in sepia lightning. How many other lies have I been told by Hollywood? Exclamation mark. Fun fact. Hollywood is kinda trashy and filthy. Not sunny and glamorous at all. Rich cultural or material output and nice places to live are frequently not found anywhere near one another. New Orleans is a culinary and cultural treasure. It's also a filthy pit. Memphis is a mecca for music and barbecue. You'll get shot there, and it's horrifyingly impoverished. Detroit made cars that changed the world and Motown music that changed music. And Detroit is Detroit. San Diego is, by all accounts, fantastic. It has a nice petting zoo. Working 80 hours a week isn't something to brag about. This is what bugs me about these, what is, group, not ready to hear, questions, because 99% of the answers are problems we know about. Like, what sane person likes working 80 hours a week? Sorry, but this is still a thing. I am a foreigner living in the US and I get told all the time how Europe is less productive and economy is lower because people don't work as hard, because they don't put enough hours, because they are happy being the mailman or teachers and bullshit like that. I just smile and say that back home the average teacher or mailman lives a pretty good life, that's why they're happy. They do not need more because more work won't get them better life quality. Fingernails scratching on an upstairs window coming from outside at 3 a.m. Of everything I've read so far on this post, this is the one I am least ready to hear. Creepy children giggling maliciously at night, when you aren't a parent. You're the foreigner in 192 countries. Edit. UN recognizes 195 countries, missed out Palestine and the Holy See. Could go up to 198 depending on your sources. Choose whichever one you want. Nice try. We're Americans, we only know like 50 other countries max. You're telling me there are 50 other countries? Come on, we all know it's like 4. Mexico, London, Canadian land and the United States of America. Dude, London is a stretch. My wife was visiting her sister in NC and someone asked her where she was from. She said London. They'd never heard of it, so my wife tried to narrow it down for them. London, England. Nope. My wife was at a loss for how much more explicit she could be. Not to worry, they got there on their own. They eventually decided it must be somewhere near Boston, Massachusetts. Edit. They came to that decision based on her, not at all, Boston accent. The word, cunt. Yeah mate. Was talking to some Americans in NZ, I called them a good cunt. The conversation didn't last much longer after that. Cunt equals mate, mate equals cunt, and that concludes our intensive 3-week course on Australians. Profit-based healthcare is wrong on so many levels. Basically that damn bitch, you live like that? Meme. College shouldn't drain your entire savings account. What savings account? Sorry, I can't afford one between my $2,000 rent and my $1,000 college loan payment every month. Please, someone help us. I'm a Californian and I wish my rent was only $2,000. I think the garbage bin outside goes for $2,050. They don't really know what terms like liberal, socialist, fascist mean. We use liberal as a synonym for Democrat, and socialist, and communist. All three are completely identical and interchangeable. Your tipping culture is a scam. Tipping should not be a burden obligation of your customers. American here. The truest thing I've seen in this comment section so far. People need to put the pressure back on businesses to pay their fucking employees instead of expecting the customers to do it for them. You let food companies put in whatever crap preservatives they want and make up weight with artificial sweeteners instead of real ingredients. That's the big threat to your life, not secret communists. I think a lot of Americans realize this is a problem, but we don't have the regulatory structure to prevent it. Chemicals with proven toxicity can take years to be banned and often get substituted with equally harmful derivatives. It's frustrating because this isn't a pressing issue for the government, it's not something we can vote on, and most people don't care enough to advocate for it at the expense of higher taxes and food prices. As a scientist, this drives me bonkers. In Europe, they have to prove a chemical is safe before they put in the food. In the US, a random citizen or organization has to prove a chemical is unsafe in order for it to be taken out. The burden of proof is completely different. You shouldn't have to give birth then go back to work a week later. I feel like most regular Americans are begging for that. Our employers, on the other hand. I heard footage of a school shooting broadcast on TV where a kid swearing was bleeped out. Like swearing was the thing that tipped that scene over into indecent. But boy, could we hear the shots and the screams. You need to get your priorities sorted. Edit. Someone called BS on the footage I'd seen. It was on CNN and you can clearly hear the gaps in the audio defending the delicate ears of the listener. Warning. Obviously it's distressing footage. Nudity is similar. TBH, if you asked most Americans to rank them by how inappropriate they are, they would say nudity, swearing, violence. Violence is perfectly okay, but seeing a woman's chest? That's crossing a line. People in this country are more okay with seeing someone get ripped apart than they are seeing fictional rap. You need more than two political parties for democracy to work. But that goes against the good versus evil mentality that has been pushed for the last 30 years. Yes, you do have an accent. If you think you don't because you read words exactly as they're written, without any kind of regional flair, you're mistaken about that. There's no such thing. Speaking without an accent would be like typing without a font. An accent is just a method of pronouncing a language, everyone has one. To be honest, I've figured out, as a US citizen, that, not only do we have an accent, but each US state basically has its own accent at this point. Even different cities in a state can have a separate accent to the rest. It's wild realizing that as an adult, I can now pinpoint what city someone from my small state is from. What temperature it is in Celsius. Me converting at the speed of light so my cookies don't burn. Canadian here, you guys have amazing landscapes, culture and food. Your folks are usually very kind and welcoming. But the quality of life you guys have makes me really sad. The minimum wage is brutal, like $7, while ours is $15, so much poverty there. And paying for healthcare, people going into debt just for getting sick? Also, the way you treat your women is horrifying. I know you guys have criticized Middle Eastern countries for women wearing hijabs and having little rights, but look in a mirror. Restricting access to family planning and abortion services, making women pay for the necessity of going to a hospital to deliver babies? No paid maternity leave, only 6 weeks, like what is that? That's nowhere near enough. Like why? Gun ownership issues, school shootings, healthcare and student debt bankruptcy, abortion restriction, poverty level minimum wage. These shouldn't be political issues, these are human rights that you guys aren't ready to accept, and to your own detriment. Edit. Thanks for all the awards. Obviously there's a lot of nuance here, and Canada isn't perfect either. We have our own demons to deal with here, and are in the midst of a major movement on recognizing Indigenous reconciliation, owning up to our history of oppression. Both countries have major structural issues. I just think the US has a lot more going on. Pledging allegiance to your flag every morning is really strange. We had that in Europe, till 80 years ago. It didn't end up well for anyone. Laughing face. I remember I didn't question this until the 6th grade, I'd have been 11. I talked to my mom about how I felt and she told me that she didn't disagree and that she was proud of me for thinking critically, and that if I didn't want to say the pledge then I didn't have to. But when I declined to stand for the pledge, oh my God. You'd think I shot someone's cat. Everyone was so mean to me, and the teacher even dogged me out too. Everyone called me a terrorist, and she asked why I wasn't a patriot. For her part, she came in the next day and educated us on the fact that people had gone to the Supreme Court about this subject and that it was not constitutional to require me to say the pledge because it can infringe upon people's religious freedom. She read to us about some court cases and said she was wrong to insist I pledge and that I wasn't wrong to refuse. I thought that was cool of her, but when she asked me if I didn't want to pledge for religious reasons, and I said no, I didn't want to pledge because the words are a lie, citing liberty and justice for all as a prime example, she was not ready for that conversation. I think she was not ready to hear it from a 6th grader.